to the round 7 review after the Blues beat the Cats in a much needed soul healing performance at the MCG. It was 14 goals 10 94 to 12 goals 4 76 on a great Sunday afternoon spent with the family. That one was needed. They're all needed. All wins are needed. But particularly when there's question marks over what is happening, which there have been for the first month of the season. And that's been followed by a couple of strong performances, which have also had question marks put over them because of the opponent, which is a bit unfair because at the end of the day, you can only play who you are scheduled to play. But there can be no question around the opponent that the Blues played yesterday. Such an impressive performance, such a good feeling, and as I mentioned at the top of the video, there was an element of healing to that experience for me. It hasn't been since Richmond last year, or even since Geelong last year, so we're talking around 15, 16, that I've experienced that type of atmosphere and feeling before, during, and after a game. So that was pleasing. And after everything seemed to be so doom and gloom, and I certainly panicked and was fearful of what the year was going to look like, all of a sudden there's a little bit more belief as to what can happen. Now, I don't know if the Blues are back, but the Blues certainly have found some kind of form and some kind of confidence and a nice balance within the team. So just got to hope that everyone stays healthy and stays consistently available, and we'll see what happens. I was there with my sister and my brother-in-law. Just a perfect day out the footy. Level 1, open air, forward pocket-ish. It was great. Well, firstly, I felt a lot of confidence brewing pre-game. Did the pre-game, or the game day live in the morning, and felt an overwhelming sense of optimism, which I was a bit surprised with. I mean, I also felt optimistic going into the game, but I was also cautious because I always find a way to find optimism before a game, even when we're in the biggest of holes. So there is that. And also you're playing against Geelong, who I have the utmost respect for. And I think most, if not all of us, have respect for Geelong as a team, as a club. I only know Geelong as a brilliant dynasty. My memory of footy kicks in from 2005, 2006. So they pretty much have been great since I can remember watching footy week to week. And so there was a clear understanding that you just have to be so switched on. You have to execute so well to beat Geelong. And for the most part, that was done. Early in the game, I noticed the Blues were slipping over, a bit fumbly, a bit costly with their disposal, and started seeing pretty much straight away that being punished. Geelong kicked the first goal, and such is the lack of patience at the moment in my mind that I start to think, okay, well, it could quickly become one of those days. But I think the Blues settled in pretty quickly after that. Zach Williams kicks a goal, gets the Blues going, and I don't really know what happened after that. Did his calf. It was so disappointing to lose another player in the first quarter, but it was what it was. There was a clear directive to utilize the width of the ground. And we've been pretty focused on the contested side of the game. I think there was a focus on the uncontested side of the game yesterday. And it showed up in the uncontested marks at the end of the game. But there was a clear, from what I was seeing anyway, there was a clear directive to use the width of the ground, switch when needed, think about what you're doing before you kick that ball down the line. And I did notice that pretty early in the piece. It was good to see Lockie Fogarty hit the scoreboard early He then had to turn his focus pretty quickly to Tom Stewart. And so it was good to see him hit the scoreboard and limit Tom Stewart in the game. Granted, Stewart did get hurt. It happened right in front of me. I don't exactly know what it was. I haven't yet watched the replay at the time of filming this. I don't know. I mean, he seemed to just land. I was sitting right there when it happened. He seemed to just land awkwardly on the ground. Unless there was a collision that I'm missing, someone can fill me in, whatever. Then I think two incredible moments happened in the second quarter as we really start blowing the game out a bit. The first one is the Harry Mackay goal. So off the turnover, ball goes into the goal square. Harry Mackay, strong mark. He had shown some signs in the first quarter, and it was so pleasing. And we were robbed of the moment for his first goal back after his issues, because he got concussed against the Eagles. So we didn't really get to have that moment for Harry. And so we got that moment. He kicks it, and it's just perfect. It was the perfect way for him to, I think, get into the game, get a nice, easier shot on goal, put it through the sticks, and away he went. And the support for Harry throughout the day was fucking fantastic. There was a period later in the game where he earns a free kick for a push in the back, I think. Geelong fans absolutely irate, booing. But then that bay turns the tide of the booing and turns it into applause, and that started, reverberating around the stadium. So that was special. So anyway, he kicks his first. Fogarty kicks his second, and then we get to the other important moment, which maybe won't get spoken about as much, but Elijah Hollands kicks a goal. And, he's another player that's come back after some struggles. He played last week, didn't have the touch and the polish that we know he usually has. That was not a problem yesterday. He was arguably our best player. The way I watched the game yesterday, he was so clean, and all the timing of his movement was just spot on, and his ability to kick on his left and change the angle and create the angle, which I think really suited the way we wanted to play yesterday, by creating more angles and using the width of the ground and being creative. And he's just got the moves, and he's got it. So he kicks his goal, get around him. Then we work it forward really well. Ollie Hollands continues to impress. Thought he was sensational as well. Charlie kicks a goal. At this point, it's 46-22. And I'm thinking, wow, like we've really got him on the ropes here. I didn't know if it was going to blow out or not. Lord slips over. Mark O'Connor marks it in our D50, kicks a goal pretty much straight away. So in a split second, I thought we had the Cats on the ropes. And as the great teams do, they always find a way to respond. But then TDK kicks his goal. This is before halftime, and I just realized, like, wow, we're actually starting to smash them. So we get to halftime. So funny, I was outside the front. All the conversations are exactly the same. There's a confidence going into the game or going back to the game after halftime, but also just nervous, because as well as I thought we were playing, there were still so many skill errors that still seem to be a part of the Carlton experience. And maybe that's just what it is. You got the contest, the pressure, and the skills. And I think two of the three are thriving, and the other one was a bit better yesterday overall, but at times you just get punished. So there was an optimism, but it was the same optimism that I've seen all season, even in the games that we were losing. So maybe that's just a feature of 2025. Maybe that's what happens after 0-4, and that I don't know if that feeling will ever subside this year, but we'll see. So we get after halftime, straight away the Cats, bang, Jeremy Cameron, Dempsey, kick the first two, and then the Blues respond. It was great. It was good to see. Then start seeing the emergence of Nick Haynes, start realizing at some point in the third, like, he was starting to put together some sort of a game. He was marking absolutely, seemingly everything that came his way. Just so staunch. And I did notice, so he's changed his hairstyle. Those that watch know that I like to look at little things. he's got his Carlton hairstyle now. So he had the long hair at the Giants, and he sort of brought it over here. But he's done something with his hair. He looks a bit different, and I think he's done the evolution, and maybe this is him settling into the Carlton world. So he looked great. McGovern as well, I thought, looked great. They've really figured it out, the two of them, after seemingly getting in each other's way early on. Dirds takes mark of the round 2 weeks in a row. That's going to be mark of the round, I would have thought. I said last week, I don't think we'll ever see him that high again. Maybe this is just going to be a feature of his game. So we were just brilliant all over them. Harry Mackay takes a strong mark, kicks a set shot, which was also, I think, important for his confidence. And then getting into the fourth, I mean, the Cats, gee, they're good. They're so good. Jeremy Cameron, first goal. Blitzarv's mark, goal. Bailey Smith, goal. And it's looking tough. Chera seems to do a groin, but I don't know how serious that is. Kicked it on his left and then reached for his groin. I don't know what happened there. And then just when we need a steadier, Harry Mackay bobs up, takes a mark. He juggles it a bit, takes a set shot similar to the one directly in front, maybe against the Lions in opening round last year. Just a regulation set shot in front of goal. He kicks it, and then George Hewitt, I think, seals it. I didn't think he had that kind of distance in him, but he did. And his energy and his passion comes out, and the crowd respond to that, and it was just a really good win. And I feel relieved that some hope has returned. I know for me, I definitely fell into the negative about the year. The team just looks so disconnected, and then all of a sudden they look connected, like they've had some sort of an intervention. We heard a lot about the honest conversations that were happening week after week after week, and I guess looking at that and looking at the performances since then, it seems to be moving in the right direction. There's still so much of the season to play out, but it was just great to be a fan and not want to sack everyone after a game, and yeah, just feel good. Fan cams were special. For me, that's so much better. I would rather have what happened yesterday on the fan cams any day of the week than deplorable losses and, thousands of people tuning in. And there seems to be a narrative out there that like losing is like, I would prefer losing because it's good for business. Mate, losing is bad on the soul. Losing hurts because you absorb all the pain of the people coming on last night, happy, relieved. And I think it just builds belief. And when the supporters believe, and when there's that unity between the club and the supporters, that's when this club has its competitive advantage. You get the fans on board, and you go from there. And I think I've noticed a few things from the club over the last few weeks, which they're clearly trying to get the fans on board. I mean, the players speaking directly for Instagram after the game. Vossi did it this week. Cripps did it. There's an underlying message around, thank you. You're showing up, and there's an underlying message of wanting to talk directly to the fans, which I think has been pleasing. And at the end of the day, all you can ask for is for when there is a problem, you identify the problem, and all you can ask for is hopefully for the club to respond. And I think they have. And so credit is due, and credit will be given where it is due. No issue there. I watched the press conferences late last night, just before I fell asleep. If you get a chance, go and watch Chris Scott's press conference. I like watching his press conferences because he just has such a stoic, calm, intelligent demeanor about him. The man's rattled last night. He was rattled. It was bizarre, and it's the second time it's happened. Last time we played them, he mentioned that he hasn't seen a team play as well as what the Blues had, and then last night he mentioned that he hadn't seen the Cats play as bad as they had for a long time. And I don't know, I felt he didn't want to really... I mean, there was just a frustration in his body language. He was fidgety. It was all sorts of things other than fully complimentary of Carlton, which, whatever. It's not my priority at the moment. But it was just interesting to see what the performance did to a coach like that. And I watched his press conference out of respect because I like him and I like Geelong. And so that's that. A good win. 3-4. All of a sudden it starts to look like it's got a bit more light to it. And now Adelaide doesn't seem like such a crazy task. Nor does St Kilda at the MCG, nor does Sydney in Sydney compared to what it did a few weeks ago. But at the end of the day, it's only a week-to-week proposition. There are still, the issues that have been identified are all still there. Changes are all going to happen. Change happens all the time. But I think one of the pleasing parts about what we've seen so far is, just that ability to dig themselves a little bit out of the hole, or work towards digging themselves out of the hole on the field. And I think there's a beauty as well. I mean, there's going to be an enjoyment of this win, but the reality is it's a Sunday game. Filming this on a Monday. By tomorrow, your preview is coming out for Adelaide, so we won't be able to get too caught up in it, which I don't think is a bad thing, because we can't get too overconfident. Got to stick to it. And the credit to Vossi, I think, needs to be given as well. I mean, he has been pretty staunch in the way that he has spoken throughout this period. If anything, he's opened up a bit more, seems to have a bit more confidence with what he's saying and reinforcing what he's doing. There was a part in his press conference which I thought was interesting, where he spoke about, how he had communicated with the players about what they are doing, and they had communicated back to him that they believed in what they were doing. And they believed in that to the point where they encouraged the coaches to continue to reinforce it. So I think there's something to be said for that. They seem to be on the same page there. And at the end of the day, they're the ones that have to be on the same page. Fans will jump on, jump off, jump back on again. Fans are results driven. I think the team is process driven and fans are results driven. And I mean, the industry for the most part is results driven. I mean, even the way that the game is spoken about in the mainstream media, it's results driven. But the team and the coaching is all process driven. So good stuff. Round 7 in the books. We are pretty much almost a third of the way through the season. And that just happens in a blink. And away we go. What about you? What were the themes and issues that came out of round 7 that you want to highlight? Share with us in the comments below. Share your experience and what you're seeing from the team, and something that maybe I haven't mentioned or hasn't been mentioned yet. Would love to hear from you. Hope you enjoyed your day. I'm sure you did. Hope you're enjoying the replay, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy your week as well. Go Blues.